皆さん、こんにちは。Just in Japan の Justin です。So, I'm currently living in Kyoto, Japan, and I'm being paid to live and study here in Japan. But how is that possible? So, today I'm going to tell you about how I did that and a little bit of my journey on how I got here. So, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Nestled in the sweeping mountains of the Japanese countryside, a land enriched with lush forests and rivers purified with water from the top of Mount Haku, rests a small village. The sound of cicadas fills the warm air as the wind softly blows the trees, giving shade to a small shrine. A young boy whom was adopted from his native land is growing up in Japan, trying to find his identity and way in life. Raised by an elderly couple, Yeah, that'd be cool if that was true. But the truth is, the year is 1990, and I'm born in a small town outside of Detroit in Michigan. If you don't know anything about Detroit, it's the home of the three automotive giants, Ford, Chrysler, and GM. It's also consistently ranked as the most dangerous city in America. So, fast forward a few years. Here's 7-year-old me. I don't know anything. However, I do know I like playing Zelda on my grandmother's Nintendo. So, for my 7th birthday, I go up to my mom and I'm like,
Hey mom, can you buy me a PlayStation? Cause I really want to play some games.
Then there's my mom. She just looks at me and smiles. She leans down and says something to me that changed my life.
You got PlayStation money?
So naturally I'm devastated, but all is well because like most families in the 90s, they enjoy traumatizing their kids, and she bought it for me anyway. You know what my first game was? Final Fantasy VII. And you gotta remember that in 1997, games didn't really have voiceovers. So I had to learn a crap ton of new grammar and vocabulary, and even then, I still had no idea what the hell I was doing. So basically, while my classmates were doing presentations, here I was, like a broken RPG character with plus 50 in reading and 1 in all other stats, was doing presentations about
The Mako energy of the planet.
my teacher thought something was wrong with me. Fair assumption. Gradually, I dug deeper and deeper into the game, and it was from a place called Japan. Never heard of it. I went to the library and rented movies and books on Japan. I became obsessed and was confident I wanted to be a ninja. But we were poor. Detroit, remember? Fast forward to high school. I'm still poor, but I know what I want to do. I want to go to Japan. I get there and I'm awestruck. It's amazing. I inject it into my veins like some kind of drug and go back to the States and immediately start studying Japanese. Boom. I graduate. I can speak Japanese. Kinda. I sign up for this nifty thing called the MEXT Program and teach English in Japan. I reconfirmed my love for Japan, and now I'm here, and I decided
I want more.
Alright, so let's get serious just for a moment. So, what is the MEXT Program? So, the MEXT Program is a program offered by the Japanese government, and it's for non-natives to study in Japan for free. So, I had an interest in applying for the MEXT Program actually prior to applying for JET, but the first time I applied, I was rejected. The information that you can find out there is really vague and limited. I feel like there's a lot more people that participate in the actual JET program rather than MEXT for whatever reason. But there's a few different options as far as the scholarship goes, but I'm going to talk about 2 of them, the undergraduate and the research scholarship for graduate students. There's a lot of differences, but let's talk about what they do have in common. The undergraduate gets paid 120,000 yen a month for living expenses, so as a monthly stipend. The research gets 146,000, the master's 147,000, and the doctoral 148,000. This money covers your living expenses, so you can use that for whatever you want, paying your rent fees, You can use that for utilities, food, truly anything. It's your money to use at your discretion. This is a very competitive program, so try and keep that in mind before applying. You should make sure that you're not only prepared academically, but also mentally as well, right? So I've seen this time and time again where people come to Japan and they expect it to be basically like an anime, and it's not. It's one thing to love Japan and love Japanese culture. It's a completely other thing to, live in Japan, work in Japan, or go to school here. So make sure you really do your research and that you're fully prepared and ready to do this. So this brings me to my next point. All right, so applying for the scholarship is no joke. So sometimes I actually still wake up and I have nightmares about it. All right, so you're gonna get like this fat stack of paperwork. You're gonna have to fill out, 5-6 sheets, and is that a fat stack of paperwork? I don't know. And within that, you're gonna have to get pictures taken. You're gonna need to get letters of reference, write a research proposal, and prepare transcripts of your academic history, among other things. So in my case, actually, I was an English teacher on the JET program, so an ALT. After doing my research, I found that your options are really limited after JET. So I wanted to be able to do something. So I needed to prepare somehow for after that. So I decided what I wanted to do was higher education. And the JET program and MEXT are related. So I don't think that most people transition this way, but just so you know, it is an option and it is something you can do. I'm doing it right now. I applied for the MEXT program and I passed the first screening. I was still working in Japan. I knew I had to go back to America to do my interview, but they didn't give me a date. Just kind of like a window, like, hey, your interview may be at this time. We don't know, just be ready. So it's not typical, obviously, to live abroad and away from the consulate that you're applying at. So my circumstance is a little bit different. They told me when my interview was, and I had 5 days to get there. Like, it was quick. It sucked. So I buy my super expensive ticket because it's last minute. I fly out to Canada. Now I have jet lag among other problems, and I have to yeet myself to Detroit. Through all of that, which was awful. And the worst thing is, my phone died. I have a Japanese phone now, and my phone's dead, so I don't have any internet connection. I basically was trying to memorize my way from Canada to Detroit, which isn't actually that hard, but I made the mistake of trusting my GPS completely. I never turned off the option where it says you can take a ferry. I've never had my GPS try and put me on a ferry, so I don't know why I would ever consider that. So I followed my GPS to the ferry in the middle of the night, so it was like midnight. Of course the ferry's not working, but I don't know. I didn't think it was a ferry. My phone's dead. I don't know where it's taking me, but I was very surprised it was only going to take me about an hour to get home. That should have been an eye-opener. But yeah, anyway, so I get there, the ferry's closed, and I basically made a trip that was supposed to be 3 hours into 6. So I had to backtrack my way all the way out of the woods, which was terrible. I got stopped at a DUI checkpoint and they were cracking up because I flew to Canada instead of the States directly. Yeah, Canadians, man. I get home, it's like 4 a.m. and I'm beat. My interview is at 9 a.m. at the consulate. Oh, I should mention too that the consulate is an hour drive from my house. So I showered, I prepared, I figured like, all right, I can do this. So I get there with time to spare, and I'm first one there, sit down. Even the staff hasn't arrived yet. So like I'm ready for this. Like I came here, I knew what I want to do. I flew from the other side of the world to make this happen. I'm sitting down, I'm just kind of waiting, and eventually another girl kind of moses her way on into the office, and she sits down next to me and she strikes up this conversation that I seriously will never ever forget.
Hey, So you're applying for MEXT too. Have you been to Japan before?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I live in Japan. I just came back for this interview. But what about you?
Oh, no. I've never been to Japan before. I just graduated, so I thought it'd be fun.
Oh. Do you speak Japanese?
No, but I do speak a little Spanish. ¿Cómo estás? ¿Está bien? ¿Y tú?
The first thing you have to do is a Japanese language test. And I need to preface this by saying that you don't need to speak Japanese to do this. It does help extremely. I mean, obviously you're going to be living in a country where they generally don't speak English, and the Japanese will help you navigate a lot better. No one's really going to hold your hand through anything. You're not required to speak it, but we have the test. So they take us through the security door. We sit down at a long table. There's 4 of us, and we open up our books. I look at it. No problem. It does get progressively harder as you go. Like by the end, I was like, I don't know. We start writing. Everything's going smooth. I noticed the girl that was talking to me originally. She's just flipping through the book and turning the packet, and I'm like, okay. So the interviewer or the moderator comes back in the room, and she's like,
Hey, I'm the consulate employee. You guys good?
so I can sense the tension in the room, like everybody's looking at each other while not looking at each other. And the woman who decided not to do her test just says, "Oh, I'm finished. So can I be excused?" And the moderator looked so confused. So she was excused, of course. And honestly, I have no idea what happened to her after that. After which, I finished my test. Like I said, the beginning super easy. The end very hard, but not terrible. It sucks because they don't tell you your score. So for all I know, I could have got every question wrong. But that's how I felt. I finish, I get escorted out, I'm given an interview time, which is about an hour from then. So I go down into the Renaissance Center, and they have like a food court, so I eat and just kind of relax, take a nap. After an hour, my scheduled interview comes up. It was a panel of 3 women. First woman was the one who did my JET interview. And so I wasn't particularly worried about doing an interview with her. We already have kind of like history. The other 2, very scared. So there was a Japanese woman, very professional in business outfit, but she looked mean. She looked really mean. And then it was the Japanese woman that was terrifying, who really like took the soul from my body and cut it into pieces. So she asked me some really, really difficult questions and just absolutely shredded my thesis at every single turn.
あなたはアメリカ人です。なぜ日本政府があなたの研究のためにお金を使わなければならないんですか？このお金は日本人の学生のために使うこともできます。あなたの研究は不明確です。あなたが何をしたいのか私には分かりません。
Also the woman with the PhD as well was really, diving deep on how I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And I wasn't sure that if I could convince her that I was an acceptable candidate until she got to my letter of reference. She read it out loud, and it was from my supervisor on JET. And she said she was extremely impressed by that letter of recommendation, and she hadn't heard anybody do something like that before. Just make sure you have a good letter of reference ready, and everything hopefully will go smooth for you. But be prepared to defend your research proposal or thesis, because they're coming for you. Looking back, one of the funniest things though is how I thought that Japanese woman was so scary, because she ended up being my kind of like liaison, the person who helped me get through the program and get to Japan. She called me all the time to give updates and let me know what to do, and she was so sweet, unbelievably sweet. One thing that I can say to you is that I do know that I can live on my stipend. There are way more expensive apartments than what I have, but I chose something that was $800 a month, whereas other apartments exist that are $200 a month, sometimes less than that for student dormitories. But I'm too old for that. Like, I don't want to live in a closet, and I don't care about any of that. Yeah, so I pay considerably more than what you can find and I can still live fine. I still have money to pay my utilities. I have money for food. I go out to fast food basically whenever I want. So it's absolutely plenty. But if you do like partying, if you do like traveling, if you do like doing whatever, going out drinking with your friends, you're probably gonna want to pick up a part-time job because this is not enough. Just in my case, it's plenty. I'm only studying, I play some video games, and my idea of travel is maybe taking a train and walking into the mountains, checking out some rivers. I'm not gonna go fly to Fiji or something. So, all right, thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate this. So this channel has been going on for a year now. It's super hard to believe. We had some success, we had some failure, a lot more failure than success, but whatever. So we went from basically having 20 subscribers to, well over 3,000 subscribers. So hopefully we can do something cool this year, and instead of showing you what life is like in Japan as a teacher, now I can show you what it's like as a student. So if there's anything that you want to see, or you have any comments or questions about the MEXT program, the JET program, life in Japan, what videos you would like, please let me know. I'm really receptive. I always respond to comments, and I always try my best to make the video that you asked. Like one of our long-term subscribers asked if Kanako could drive the Lamborghini. We did it. Whatever you want, just let me know. I can't promise, but I'll definitely respond, and we'll try and figure something out for you guys. All right, so thanks for watching. I hope you found something fun here, and catch you next time. Bye.